Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In today's video we're going to be jumping into Supreme Arena and taking a look at the top defenses to try and learn how to maybe craft a better Supreme Arena defense to hold a higher ranking for your tally. Now of course the disclaimer is that in Supreme Arena, if someone has been spending more in the new season, they're going to be a higher level and they're just going to beat, even with not as good teams on defense, they're going to be unbeatable. But the thing is, you will always have people around your level range as well, and if you can set a strong defense, you can have, it will be difficult for those people to clear your defense and you can still hold a higher rank. So building a good defense is important no matter which level you're at. But of course, competing in the top levels, you have to have spent something, otherwise you're going to be too far behind in resonating level and you won't probably even be hitting the baseline level for that round of Supreme Arena. Anyway, with that being said, let's take a look at the first defense here, which is going to be the 4th defense by Wooster. We'll probably leave his first defense until last because a lot of his heroes are on invisible tiles, so we'll have to try and infer what that defense actually is. Okay, so the second arena defense in the Supreme Arena is the most important one because it is going to be based on the Raging Duel. And this week, for me, it's the Grimoire Raging Duel, which means that whenever a unit deals single high value damage, meaning more than 160% of their base attack, and this would normally be in the form of a skill or an ultimate, then their side of rage will increase by 1, and when you get a full side of rage, which is 5 rage stacks, then their side will enter battle fervor state, and this will be a huge damage dealt bonus of 30%, a damage reduction of 30%, and a haste increase by 30 until the end of the battle. So previously I thought whoever gets the battle fervor first will always win, but it's not always the case. And one way to actually counter that is what Wooster is doing, which is Coco in the back line with the Cascade spell. Because Cascade spell is going to boost the energy, it's a seasonal artifact, it boosts the energy gained of your backmost hero, and in the first 4 seconds of battle, you're going to be gaining 100 or more energy for each second. So you're going to get 400 energy or more in the first 4 seconds, and it also gives you haste, so that will be charging up your ultimate faster. Already Coco has haste, especially at Legendary Plus, there's a bonus haste. So basically Coco is going to get off her ultimate probably within the first 10 seconds of the fight, and that is usually going to be early enough that no one has stacked up their full battle fervor by that time. And then even if the opponent is able to stack up before you, you have your damage reduction. It can buy your team more time to stack yourself up and then also kill the enemy's team. So Coco is a really good way of countering Raging Duel because she can buy your team a little bit more time to get off their side for battle fervor, which is really good. Apart from that, he's running Shakir. Shakir is a very commonly used hero in the Raging Duel, even in previous versions of Raging Duel, not even the single high value damage, but especially in single high value damage, he's very good because his ultimate is going to qualify. It's 190% damage. His first active skill is going to also qualify because his first 2 attacks and his final attack will be 160% plus whatever skill power is gained, but I think that's from Mythic Charms, so the 160% though is going to be enough to stack up the battle fervor. Then for the other options, he's gone for 3 Graveborns. Sylvina probably also has single high value damage, yeah. Marks the closest enemy symmetrical flashes to them and launches an attack when the battle starts, dealing 300%. So immediately, right when the battle begins, she's going to hit you with a single high value damage, stacking up the rage by 1. And if she can eliminate one hero on the enemy's team, it's very difficult for the enemy to come back. Like for example, if you're up 5v4 and you're going to be stacking the battle fervor first, it's very difficult for the opponent to compete with that. And that's why Shakir, I also feel like, is good. He can nuke heroes really quickly, especially when he jumps into his wolf form. And Odie, I like to run Odie, but that will be when we come to my defense. But Odie also has that single target damage to try and kill off a unit quickly, although he doesn't really qualify that well for the high value damage. And Shakir is also good with the Cascade spell because already at Mythic Plus, he's going to have a lower energy requirement to cast his ultimate, and this will charge him up faster with the haste, and so he's going to get that wolf really quickly, and that is going to be a massive win, or a massive bonus for his team, who is all going to be up in the front line with the Salazar, Thorin, and Sylvina in the middle of your team. And if Shakir can jump in there too, he's buffing all of them up with the haste buff, damage reduction buff, and the attack buff. So I really like Shakira in the Raging Duel, and even in different versions, not only single high value damage, I think he's always a pretty good option. So very strong defense. And but the issue with Raging Duel is a lot of people use Rainier on offense because there's no tile which is safe from Rainier. And so you could swap any unit that you wanted to kill right from the beginning of the match. Maybe if you want to try and swap Coco and kill her before she can cast her ultimate, that could be a reasonable idea. But either way, a very strong defense. Let's take a look at his third defense. So his third defense is going to be a Wilder plus Rowan team. He also runs Walker. He's a guildmate of mine, by the way, but he runs Walker because he's gotten a lot of copies of Walker. He, I guess, had Walker on his wish list from the beginning because Walker's already Paragon 1. And Walker, sometimes people think is a troll hero, but he actually can do pretty well. And he does well for him as well. He has a 3 Wilder plus 2 Light Bearer. So in the Iron team, usually when you run Iron, you run him with other crowd control heroes like Arden. Arden does really well with Iron, or Damien, who also has more crowd control. Even Carolina does well with Iron. Carolina is usually a really good partner to have with Iron because she will deal more damage if the enemy is controlled for longer. Her snowballs will be going off on them, and so Iron is a good partner for Carolina. But either way, he still has a good team. Perissa can nuke, although I don't think she's the best for PvP. She's good, very amazing in battle drills, one of the best options, but for PvP she's not, in my opinion, as good as like a Carolina here. But again, it does depend on which heroes you have built up on your account, and he has a plus 10 Perissa, so I'm sure it will be doing a lot of damage as well. And then he just is trying to get the factional bonus. He's gone for the Crescent Spell. Crescent Spell is really good in Iron teams, or any magic damage oriented teams. So yeah, if you have a magic damage mage carry like Perissa or Arden or Carolina, which does well in the Iron team, then it's a really good option. And so Granny Dani is one of the best heroes to be running on defense. She has immobilization with her ultimate. She has incredible tanking capability. She can be, I guess, kind of countered by Odie because Odie can work her down and pop her, but she still does survive for a long time. She's very difficult to get through. And if you have crowd control and other nuking damage carries, then it's difficult for Odie to even be safe enough to kill. So there's that team, and now his first team, I know he has Scarlita, so this would probably be his Scarlita team. And usually in the top ranks of Supreme Arena, Scarlita is one of the most used defense heroes, so if you have a Mythic plus Scarlita, then you should definitely be building a defense around her. But if you don't have Scarlita Mythic plus, don't bother building a Scarlita defense. And like, Scarlita is great, but she is not like, you can still make strong teams without her. So, and you do need like 8 copies of her to get her to Mythic plus, and Rainier is much more of a higher priority. So it's really only for like quite heavy spenders who are going to have a Scarlita as well at Mythic plus that can run a team. But most likely the team he's running is maybe similar to the arena defense which he's running. So he's already used Thorin, he's used Granny as a tank. So I can't remember exactly what other options he had. Maybe we can just quickly look through my list to see, or refresh my memory. He's probably running Haywin. Haywin is really good in Scarlita teams because the whole idea behind a Scarlita team comp is that you stall out for Scarlita to come down and finish everyone off. And even if Scarlita doesn't manage to kill people, if the opponent can't kill you because you have so much stall and healing, then you're still going to win. And that is the idea behind a Scarlita defense. Oh, he has Vala. Okay, he hasn't been running Vala on these other defenses, so he is probably running his Vala. He has a really like plus 20 exclusive equipment Vala. He's probably running Vala, maybe Haywin. Other than that, not entirely sure what else he could be running. Maybe he's built up Elsa, or maybe he has like an Igor for more stall, which can work in this type of comp. But yeah, I think that's enough of talking about this because we're not entirely sure what he's running, but it would be a Scarlita defense with Vala here as well. But in my opinion, I would also break the two. Vala is a really strong carry. You can build a comp totally around her, maybe run her in the third team, and then Scarlita can be here. But that being said, Scarlita alone is usually not enough of a threat, and usually people who run Scarlita defenses either is just super tanky with a really high power tank and heals, or it is one other damage threat with Scarlita and then heals as well. Okay, let's take a look at the next defense on the list. So we have Svoker, who is rank 2, and he has a Freyastor as well. Okay, so I haven't actually ever attacked a Freyastor on defense yet. But first we're going to take a look at his second defense because we don't know exactly what he's running on first. Okay, so here is the example, the Iron Nuke team with Carolina, who does well in crowd control teams, Arden as well. Is this Arden? 15? No, plus 10 exclusive equipment, Damien and Granny Danny. This is always a good option to be running in Raging Duel. The reason for that is because if you can immobilize and entangle the opponent and stun them with the paper airplane of Damien, then the opponent can never stack up any rage. If you're constantly keeping them locked down, and you're going to be gradually stacking up your rage, and then you're going to hopefully get there before the opponent, and then they're just they have such a big bonus and probably have already killed one unit by this point, and they're probably going to win. So that's the idea behind his team comp. However, I don't think this is the strongest defense to be running in Raging Duel for Grimoire because I feel like the Maulers do better. And if Maulers already are going to be doing better here, and then you have the factional advantage of Maulers into Wilders, I think it's very difficult for a defense like this to be able to beat the Maulers. And I would run the Maulers, and maybe here you could even try, if you want, you could try OD in the back and run the Enlightening spell because this protects him from the crowd control that this whole team is designed around, or even Enlightening spell with the Coco. Some people do that just to guarantee her ultimate to be off, but you could even just go for the Cascade spell. She's still going to be gaining energy even while she's immobilized, and when she is fully stacked of energy, she is going to dispel all of her debuffs. This is the Cascade spell effect. So yeah, even though it is a good option and always this crowd control comp is decent in Raging Duel, I think for Grimoire, I feel like the Maulers might be better. And another reason I think that is because Brutus, after taking 10 hits of physical damage, his skill will deal... where is it here? Here, his Mythic Plus. Bruce cleaves with all his might to enemies within a one-tile arc in front after receiving physical damage 10 times from surrounding enemies, dealing 200% damage. So that would also stack up your rage for this effect. Okay, let's take a look at his third defense. Here he has his Mauler team, and this is the interesting thing. I've seen Lumont used much more in the new season, especially on AFK stages, and it is because he has a team boost. Increase haste by 10 and damage dealt. So just like he has the same seasonal effect as Lucius. Increase haste by 8, yeah, he has exactly the same seasonal skill as Lucius. And this makes him really strong because having a buff in a tank himself is a very good thing for his team. And when you look at his other, it's just a full Mauler team. But I don't know, I feel like this would be doing better on 2 and his crowd control team would be doing better on 3. I'm not sure, but for me, I've had better success with my Mauler team on the second for the Raging Duel Grimoire. Either way, this is a very serious team, very difficult to deal with. He doesn't have Smokey because the thing with Smokey is if Smokey gets interrupted or gets swapped by Rainier or just gets nuked by Sylvina, killed immediately, then he doesn't have that much function. Or if the whole team runs away from Smokey's heals, that's also not good for his defense. But he has, yeah, so that's why he's opted for no Smokey. And that's fine. Like, I mean, if you have double melee, like actually triple melee here, but Brutus and Lumont coming into your team, and then Shakir can ult really quickly and get in there too, because Shakir is melee once he ultimates. And then all 3 of them are going to be buffed up. So Shakir does really well in melee, especially melee Mauler comps. So very interesting that this is being run with Shakir. And now for his final one, he would be running Scarlita, definitely, because he has Scarlita. All the top players have Scarlita. Maybe even Scarlita and Diona. He might be running everything in this first team, but probably it would be Scarlita. And then maybe one more. Either, okay, so we've seen Damien already. We haven't seen Vala. There could be a Vala lurking here. There could be a Floribel. Yeah, probably something like that. And definitely, I think Freyasto, he has so much tanking power here, Thorin and Freyasto, and he has the heals from Haywin, which is one of the best ways of keeping your team alive. Like, Haywin is one of the best healers for stall teams because of her damage reduction at Mythic Plus and just her high healing value. And then if Scarlita is up there, she's also going to give those shields to keep your team alive for longer. So this looks like a really threatening stall type Scarlita defense. Okay, and let's see, the rank 1 is Splash, and then we need to look at rank 3 as well, and then we'll look at my team. Okay, so Splash is running a combo on his second team, the Raging Duel team. He's running a combo of Mauler plus Iron for crowd control, which is again a good, interesting idea. It's good because you're going to lock down the opponent with the immobilization, with Arden's entangling roots or the immobilization from Iron. It prevents the opponent from stacking their rage. Then he also has crowd control from Elsa, who deals crowd control. I don't know if she will activate rage with any of her skills. Does she have... Okay, this is more than 160% attack. This is more... She deals a lot... She actually deals a lot more damage than I thought she did. Yeah, so a lot of her skills and her ultimate are going to stack the rage for her team. And Shakira, again, with the Cascade spell, very threatening. A lot of people do this as well. Even in previous Raging Duels, which weren't the single high value damage, Cascade spell Shakira is very threatening. I think that was the one when you had to deal multiple damage, like multiple damage within 2 seconds, like hit people 3 times within 2 seconds. Because Shakira's ultimate is bound to hit 3 people at a time. And that counts as 3 damage within 2 seconds. And of course, if you can get Shakira's ultimate off fast, it is going to be such a great buff for your team. He's running Rainier here because in this mode you are susceptible to Rainier, and so you can, one option is just run Rainier on defense, because that also makes it confusing for the opponent, or the opponent can just avoid it entirely by moving to the left side. But yeah, I mean, I even ran a team like this and I considered it, but the thing is, I feel like it's a bit weak if the opponent is going, like, if you can get the Arden into your side, you really don't want Arden to be in your team or your side. But maybe with all the control and everything, Arden would still be able to survive for long enough. Okay, let's take a look at the third team. Third team is his diagonal team with Scarlita and Buff. So his diagonal team is probably the most scary because it's a Paragon 3 diagonal. It has a smoky buffs. So with diagonal, what you want is to have attack and haste buffs, and Leica provides haste buff, Smokey provides haste buff, Smokey provides attack buff, and the sustain. Just needs to allow Diagonal to survive for long enough to get off his ultimate, and then he's gonna kill whoever's on the other side with, like, I mean, Paragon D3, and yeah. So Scarlita also helps with this concept to keep Diagonal alive with shields if he needs it, or even Thorin alive, and the Soul Pact also protects Diagonal, because, like, I mean, what you could do here is you could go for Sylvina or Vala onto the Diagonal, so he's just trying to prevent that, and basically this is a pure protect Diagonal as much as you can, and he's going to carry you to victory. And really, it's like, how can you attack the Diagonal here? You can't Rainier swap him because of Enlightening spell. You can't crowd control him. You can't, like with Vala and Sylvina, honestly, I feel like Sylvina is going to jump in there and just die, because you're going to have Scarlita shielding your weakest ally. If it's Diagonal, it'll be onto him. Soul Pacted Diagonal, it's really going to be difficult to kill him. So yeah, very strong team. And now team number 1, I know he has Freyasto at Supreme Plus, but I don't know whether he's running Freyasto here. Like, you would think it would be in the front line if he were running it. So here we haven't seen Vala yet. It could be a Vala here. It could be Floribel. Both of those are strong PvP heroes. Apart from that, yeah, I feel like it's unlikely to be running Freyasto in the hidden tiles, but I guess it could be. Yeah, it's probably something like Floribel Valor or something. So he has this tanky team, Danny plus Haywin and Damien for heals, and Damien is very difficult to actually kill because he keeps respawning his chariot and he will send those stuns into your back line. He has the evocation spell. I like evocation spell and I liked it a lot. I thought it was actually the most powerful spell when we started playing this season, but now what I've seen a lot more of is the cascade spell and the crescent spell for more damage for the magic comps. Even the Crickblade spell can be a decent option. It does quite a bit of damage. It provides tankiness for you as well. And I feel like this newest one, Thunderbolt spell, might be very usable because it's the biggest haste buff of any artifact. Because Cascade is only 4.2, although it gives you that energy boost, but having such a big haste boost, and this is only plus 12, I feel like, and it deals pretty decent damage. I think Thunderbolt spell might become new meta. Okay, we need to try and refresh. We need to find the third defense, and then we can take a look at my defense. The third defense is Ofter, who's also our guildmate. So he's also opted for the crowd control Iron team on number 2. Danny for the tanking, and Iron crowd control, Damien crowd control. The issue I see here is that, I mean, the problem is, does he have many ways? Okay, I guess this deals this much damage, so this would count as single high value damage, the Iron ultimate. Because at Mythic Plus, if he's at... Because you need to make sure that his first ultimate cast is not reduced too much. Okay, so it's reduced to 70% of the original, but 70% of 250... 70% of 250 is still going to be enough, barely. Yeah, 175, I think. Yeah, 175, so it would be enough to qualify single high value damage. Okay, so Iron can contribute to that, and then his other skills, the Iron stab skill can also count. Okay, but as for the other skills, okay, Damien's Paper Airplane, I know that deals a lot of damage. This one, 250% damage, so that would also do it. But in my opinion, I thought Scarlita was not the best in this team because she is not going to contribute anything to the single high value damage. And so you have one less unit on your field to stack raid stacks. So yeah, I mean, Iron and Damien definitely are good options because they have the damage in order to stack your rage, and also they have the crowd control to prevent the enemy from stacking. Either way, he has a lightning spell onto Haywin to get the heal up. And again, if, like we mentioned, like with the Coco as a backline with Cascade spell, or Haywin in the backline with Cascade spell and lightning spell, the idea is that even if the opponent stacks up their rage before you, you have the sustain and the protection that you will be able to survive for a little bit longer, and you can then have your chance to stack up your rage. But again, I feel like it's weak to the Mauler team, and I think the Mauler team would do better into in this version of Raging Duel. That's so. And then here he has his Mauler team, OD protected behind the fire thing. It's fine, but the issue with that is Vala. Okay, Vala can actually hit the OD. Yeah, you need to have a hero here or somewhere in the back line. If, for example, the Brutus was up here towards like Scarlita, I'm pretty sure the Vala would mark the OD. But in this position, Vala marks the Brutus instead. So you just have to watch out for the Vala mark because some people put Vala here and it does mark the hero which is on that tile. Anyway, he has his full Mauler team. Reese can deal decent damage. Again, no Smokey here, which I guess is fine. And he has a Brutus to try and counter Vala. Brutus is obviously placed to counter Vala, otherwise it's better for Brutus to be in the front and Shakira to be in the back. But he has Cascade spell on the Brutus. Cascade spell on the Brutus seems strange. like he really wants to tank the Vala mark, but the Cascade, because Brutus's ultimate is not that important to get off. Anyway, let's take a look at his first defense. So Rainier swapping something which we have no clue, and it can only actually be in one tile because they're 4 invisible tiles, so we know Rainier can only swap from this tile. So you could just avoid it by not putting anything there. So we've seen Scarlito already. After, I don't know if he has Diona. He probably has Vala. A lot of people have Vala. So his final team probably would revolve around... We haven't seen Thorin either. We haven't seen Thorin or Carolina. Could be Thorin, Carolina, Vala, something. Some team revolving around those options. Anyway, let's now take a look at our defense. So, in my first defense, I put my weakest defense. Or, I don't know if it's my weakest, but this is the defense that I put. And again, I try to put things on non-invisible tiles so that my battle power looks higher so people avoid attacking me. It's just a tactic I like to use, and maybe you guys can use it too, because I mean, naturally when you're looking through the list, you don't have the time to look and scour through everyone's defense. You usually just base it off of the power, and when the power number looks lower, you try to attack it. So I feel like maybe I get fewer attacks because of that. But okay, so there's a crowd control comp, of course. We have Iron, Carolina to capitalize on the crowd control to deal more damage, Arden to crowd control as well and deal more damage, and we have our Granny tank. We have the 3 Wilder faction bonus, and Rowan to power up and give more energy to Carolina, Arden, and keep people alive. We have Iron in a position so that if they try to go for Vala, Vala is going to mark Iron. I think it's not possible for Vala to mark anyone else. We could even put him here, but I chose to put him here so he can run up around this side faster, I guess. There's no way of Rainier swapping. In this defense formation, you need to make sure that the opponent cannot Rainier swap you. So these 2 tiles, which Arden, Carolina are on, and even Iron are on, they're safe. And even these 2 tiles would be safe as well from Rainier swap because there's no symmetrical tile. So that's what I did here in Crescent Spell for more damage because it's a magical based comp. Number 2, I've done Cascade Spell, Coco in the back to try and get her ultimate off immediately. And then you have Odie to try and nuke down 1 hero on the enemy team, Shakir to try and ultimate in their face with Brutus up in the front. And Brutus can also contribute a single high value damage after taking 10 physical damage hits, and he's the first most tanking hero, so he's going to be channeling all the aggro is going to be on him at the beginning, and Smokey to heal and sustain up. And of course, I do think, yeah, this team is susceptible, like we saw Wooster's defense with Sylvina jumping on Smokey. That is scary, and like if Smokey just gets nuked and also he stacks Rage with the Sylvina, you would be at a pretty heavy disadvantage. But I don't know, I still think this is pretty good, and if people are trying to bring the Iron team in here, then we might be able to get the win, and that's the idea. Then final team is my Scarlita team. So, I mean, okay, I've positioned it in a way that Floribel is protected from most things. I don't want so you want Floribel either to be on one of the back tiles, which you can't have because of Rainier swapping. Rainier can swap from these 3 tiles. If I put Floribel here, for example, she could even be swapped. I would have to put her either these 2 or these 2, and that's way too risky for a damage dealer, so I opt to just put her over here. And then we have Damien. So this is our stall type Thorin team, Scarlita team. The idea is Scarlita is going to shield you, keep you alive, and you have all of this amazing like healing. That is going to be difficult for the opponent to break through you. Scarlita is going to come down and try to finish people off. Floribel also does well in these stall type teams because she can just get off all of her summons and get value from that. It's difficult for the opponent to beat you. If Vala marks like the Scarlita, like if Vala is positioned here, she's probably going to mark the Scarlita. So then even when Scarlita jumps in the air, I guess the mark would move to Thorin or something. I don't know, but this is how I positioned it. I didn't want to have any hero in the back here because I'm running the light heal spell. I don't even know if this is the best option. Honestly, there is probably, might just be better to run Stormcaller spell. Is it better to run Stormcaller spell? I mean, the difference between the 2 is that this gives more HP, but the vitality, and a bit more vitality. Yeah, it's probably better to run Stormcaller spell, but mine isn't fully at plus 19 yet, but I think because you would get more value from your shields with the vitality boost, your defenses would be just slightly lower. You don't have the attack, but you have the HP, and I think with the stall type team, you want the HP more. But anyway, I went for light heal spell, and it's fine. You can even go quick blade spell. It really is up to you, your preference here, because Florbell is a physical damage dealer. Scarlita is as well. Quick blade spell would not be bad. Let's just try quick blade spell for right now. So that's my third team. And yeah, so that's basically it for our showcase of the top 5 Supreme Arena defenses. Hopefully it gave you an idea of what things you can try and run on your defenses. Of course, many will not have Scarlita, but you can just avoid Scarlita. I think the summary of it all is that try to run defenses involving the strong PvP heroes, some that we haven't seen at all but are good options. Cecilia is good, Temesia is good. Sylvina, we didn't see that much, only on Wooster's defense, but she can be good. Although she's a better offense option, she will still be fine on defense. And Rainier, Mythic Plus, or he doesn't even need to be Mythic Plus if you're running him for PvP uses. Igor for a Graveborn Stroll team. Entendre in the Mauler team if you don't have a Brutus, for example, that highly ascended. Entendre can be good there as well. She can tank really well. And then sometimes people even do Lightbearer teams with Corrin, Temesia, Rainier type, Cassidy, Vala. People do things like that even in these higher ranks, so you can even use Corrin in arena, or your defense. Cassidy you can use. Vala is of course really good. So that is pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe because we upload daily AFK journey content, and I'm sorry for not uploading. Like, this is a really late upload for me, and these days I've been uploading 2 videos per day, and that's what I want to continue doing. But I had internet problems throughout the entire day. I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to do my daily activities. So whenever I had like a brief bit of really laggy internet, I connected and I just tried to do my daily activities, because so then I wanted to actually make another video on the Crystal Beetle, but we're going to do that tomorrow after reset, because I've used all my attempts because I had to do my dailies in the event that I wasn't ever going to get internet back today. But anyway, it's solved for now. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you're new, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video. And until then, everyone, peace out for now.